You know we're closed for the night, right? I guess you don't have to leave. Stick around for a little bit. Let me finish cleaning up the store. I'll show you something kind of cool. You know, I got a good show for you tonight. We're gonna talk to somebody pretty darn cool. We're gonna fix something. There might even be a chance that somebody learns something. But without further delay, let's get on with the show. So what do we have here? This is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, not for resale version. Now what is this exactly? This, as you can tell by the sticker on the back and the mark on the front, is a demo cartridge for the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. Now these cartridges are not supposed to be out in the wild, so it's interesting to see them now. When compared to the traditional full retail release, you can see they look very similar. The only difference is the sticker on the back and the markings on the front. But of course, when you actually play the game, that's when the big difference happens. Now I want you to pay attention as I boot up the full release of the game, that the logo on the top screen looks exactly the way that you expect, right? It's got the name of the game, it's got the Hylian shield, the sword, everything. Then once you load into the game, you've got a little Triforce loading thing in the top bottom corner, and you've got the game itself. Your cinematic video, press start, all the stuff that you're used to. This is where things will start to differ when you look at the not for resale demo cartridge. As you can see, you can choose between Master Quest and the stock version of the game, but of course that's to be expected because that's the full retail release. Now look at this logo, right? It is the same exact thing as the full retail release, but now we are playing on the not for resale demo cartridge. And as you see, when you load into the title screen, you instead can pick between 3 different designated areas because, surprise, this is a demo. This is not the full retail version. There's your E10 rating so that you can, I don't know, observe what you're getting into or what your kids are getting into, and then you load into the game. Of course, it's a super limited version of the game with only 3 areas to explore, but it did what it needed to, as it lets you explore little bits and pieces of the game before you bought it. This is, of course, something that only pops up in, like, kiosks for Best Buy, Walmart, Kmart, stuff like that, where they would have a 3DS with this cartridge in it that you could play these demos on before you bought the game. You've seen them a million times. What makes it interesting is they're not supposed to make it out to the wild. As you can see, you cannot even go to the home screen when this game is in your system because it was not meant for home use. These were supposed to be sent back to Nintendo once the promotion was over and either stored or destroyed, so seeing them on the second-hand market is quite rare. This specific cartridge is not all too rare and expensive, but it is something that you don't see every day. So while only being around the $40-ish area, it is something cool to see in a retail setting like this. Let's take one last look at it, and let's move on with the rest of the show. Hello, welcome to the repair section of the video. As you can see, today we got this NES right here. Obviously it needs a little bit of help. It's, you know, speckled with dirt. It's just overall kind of dirty and dingy, but of course we're gonna fix that up. The other thing that's important to note on this specific one, the whole reason we're gonna open it up, is that the 72 pin connector in it is just straight up just shot, right? So you can see, putting in a game, the lights blinking, And if you look into my TV, there's just nothing happening. And believe me, this is, this is a struggle. You can blow on the cartridge, you can clean it out with rubbing alcohol, it's still not going to work. So we just need to replace that. First step is, of course, we got to take the console apart. There's a lot of screws involved. The top part has 6, so we take that off, and we can get to the guts of the matter. We're going to set this aside. We're going to go ahead and deep clean it in a little bit. That being said, let's move on to the main one, and of course there's a metal shield, so we're going to have to remove that. There is a total of 7 more screws to take off of that piece, and we can get it off. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Now that we've got the metal shield off, we can get to the guts of the matter. You can see there's still more stuff that we need to deal with. There's about 6 more screws holding this piece into place, as well as 2 more screws that are on the power port. So we'll have to take all those out. So we're going to go ahead and take all those out. We can just straight up pop this piece out, and we're going to go ahead and clean up the bottom, because there is a little bit of dirt in there, nothing major. But now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and move on to the main event. Like I mentioned, we are just straight up going to replace the 72 pin connector in this one. We can go ahead and replace it with a new brand or a refurbished old brand one. First party, third party, they pretty much all work the same. All you do is pop it out, and that is the piece that we're dealing with. We're going to go ahead and set it up there and grab the new one right there, and just as simple as can be, slide that into place, and we can start reassembly. Go ahead and pop this back where it should be. It's a bit of a snug fit, but they always are, so don't freak out if you got to use a little bit of force. As long as it slides properly, like that, you know you've done it correctly. And now, once again, we just get to the part of the process where we've got to put everything back in place. But before we do that, we want to make sure the new pin connector works. So we're going to take this game again, and as you can see, first time's a champ. Don't need to do anything else. Plugs it in, turns on immediately. We can tell that the new pin set did the job. There's a long Konami screen, but I promise, there we go. As you can see, works like a champ. So that replacement was successful. Now we gotta go ahead and get the whole thing reassembled. So let's go ahead and take the cartridge out. If you remember, we put the 6 screws in. Now we're putting the metal shield back on, and we're gonna screw that bin. Boom. That's back in place. And now, we mentioned before, it's a little bit dirty and dingy. At this point is when I stopped and I just gave it a quick wipe down. As you probably figured from this, the top half is the really big problem, right? It's not horrible, just something a little elbow grease can help with. And if you look at what it looks like now, that is the magic that elbow grease can do. Getting a toothbrush into the vents is the secret, if I'm being honest with you. Now, let's go ahead and get the last 6 screws back in, and this thing will be fully reassembled. There we go. And now, just to make sure that I haven't messed anything up on the off, let's go ahead and pop Carmen Sandiego in there one last time. And of course, plug in the cords. I don't know why I forgot to do that first, but that's fine because we can immediately rectify that. But now that everything is plugged in properly, just make sure it pops up on the screen like it should. And if we tilt the camera over here, we can see, sure enough, pops up first time, no sweat. But of course it could just be one cartridge working. We want to test multiple, so we throw in another one and another one. Castlevania 2, that's a good one right there. And of course we want to throw a couple more in just to make sure it's working perfectly. About 5 is what I go for. And as you can see, every single one I put in pops up just fine, no issues whatsoever. So at this point, I think we're going to finish up here. There we go. That's the one.
We'll finish up on Mario Bros. I've already tested this controller, but it's always nice to just make sure. So, with that out of the way, I think we're going to wrap up this segment of repairs. Once again, basically just an NES that needed a deep clean, a new 72-pin connector, and that's all she wrote. Look a little bit nicer. Before I end off, we'll just take one more look around it. You can see there's only so much you can do. There's still going to be a couple little scuffs here and there. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be way better than when it came in. Anyway, let's move back on over to the show.
Man, that segment was pretty good. Hopefully this one is pretty good as well. I'd like to show you a little bit of data if I can. I've been in the business for about 10 years now, and everything's culminated in about 2.5 years now where I've opened this place, the Retro Game Vault. Now, that being said, I've collected numerous amounts of data, but in this specific segment, we're going to be working with the first 24 months that I have had this location open. And that's what we're going to look at right now. So what is this? This is a graph of the fluctuation in price for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the Nintendo 3DS, specifically copies that are complete in box. So that means they have their manual, the cartridge, and the case. Now if you look at this green line, that represents the price of the fully complete version over the first 24 months of being open. You can see it's a very contained mess. I've sold it for as cheap as $19, as expensive as $25, which leaves about $6 of fluctuation across those 2 years. However, as you can see, there isn't like a gradual increase or anything like that. It's just fluctuating numbers. To be honest, these numbers are probably more indicative of condition on the case being a few dollars off, minter copy coming in, which is a couple of dollars more, something along those lines. Now for comparison's sake, here's another graph right here. This is an example of gradual increase using the Activision Anthology for PlayStation 2. Now this has had a low of $7 and a high of $10, but you notice the line is slowly trending upwards, something to be expected of what I would consider a hidden gem. Seriously, you should really play this game. It's like phenomenal. The soundtrack is amazing, and I don't have a single bad thing to say about it. But that's something else entirely. Now compare the data that you've witnessed so far to this graph, which is a consistent gradual increase that's more erratic. Now surprise, surprise, it's Pokemon. Specifically Pokemon Ruby to be exact. This one is cartridge only, and you can see that we have a low of 50 and a high of 80. And unfortunately, nowadays it's even above that, but that's not important for what I'm talking about here. You'll notice there are dips in data, but most of that is just a comparison of a good label versus a bad label, as in situations like this, that can be a pretty significant, issue, you know? Now, all of these trends are completely natural. It's stuff that you kind of expect. Pokemon is popular. It's going to be more popular over time. They're not making more copies, so the price is gradually going to go up at a more advanced pace than Activision Anthology. Now that being said, there's sometimes outside interference which can change the price of things pretty dramatically. So here's one more bit of data using the video game called Phantom Dust for the original Xbox. Once again, complete in-box copies only of what I have sold in 24 months of being open. Now you may ask yourself, what the heck happened here? Well, occasionally I mentioned outside interference having a dramatic effect, and this is one of those situations. Supply and demand got crazy for a second, and I don't mean to point fingers, but I think I know why. Nick Robinson produced a video that played a pretty big factor. As you can see, on July 1st, 2022, he published a video titled The Xbox's Forgotten Masterpiece. It's a very well put together video that honestly I highly recommend watching. It's currently sitting at over 2 million views, and a lot of people watched it and had the same reaction as the rest of them, which is here's an awesome game, now I want to play it. Overnight, the supply and demand got completely out of whack, as the supply could not meet the new demand brought on by that video. And that's where we get something like this, a dramatic spike that brings it from being worth $20 to almost $100 for a minute. But now you can see it's sort of wrestling back in the $50, $60 area, something like that. Now, what does all this mean? Why did I take like 5 minutes of your time to show you sales figures data from my store? Well, to be honest with you, trends and stuff like that is all stuff that I as a store owner have to worry about. But you as a consumer probably don't need to worry too much about. But it's interesting to know more about. I love data, so this stuff, this is for me. If you don't like this stuff, I've got some good news for you, because we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to sit down with a loyal regular and friend of mine named Trevor. And we're going to talk to him for a little bit, see how he's going along, and hopefully the lighting is good in that segment, because it certainly wasn't good in this segment. But I will see you right after this quick break.
So it's at this point I'm going to bring on my guest who's sitting right there. This is my friend Trevor, who I've known for a great deal of time. Yeah. He's a very, very loyal regular of mine. Why don't you introduce yourself, my dude?
Hello, my name is Trevor. I am 30, about to be 33. I don't know how, I'm about to be 34. Sorry for the weird tone of voice. Wow. I'm a manager for Home Depot, been there for a while. It's not that funny. So I got 5 kids. I'm a pretty decent collector. Yeah, you can check out my page. I've just started trying to grow a following. It's gamers_delight 25. Give it a follow.
I agree. What you're looking at right now, that's just one of the different videos he's posted of the collection coming together, and the like gamer zone just being
gamer
more
zone. Get in the zone.
Exactly.
Yep.
Except for it's Home Depot, not AutoZone.
So. Yep, that's true.
Failure. You're killing me, dog. Now, you don't just collect video games, because obviously video games are important, but they're not like the be-all, end-all. What other things do you go for and why?
So I like to collect a little bit of everything, like Star Wars, Fallout, consoles. I definitely love collecting consoles, different editions. I'm pretty open-minded when it just comes to anything. Honestly, it just catches my eye. I find it very interesting.
That's fair. That's fair. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank yourself? As like 1 being super casual, 10 being absolutely insane?
I'd say casual, because if you watch some of the videos, I've been watching a lot of YouTube for a while now, and some guys and girls collect a ton of like just retro, like hold its value. My stuff is kind of just like, it's not cheap, but it's not like $300 for a video game, or like just like the older consoles, to where don't really have a lot of those, but I would like to eventually.
Why do you do it?
I just something I never had as a kid, so it's been nice now that you have big grown-up money.
Mm-hmm. I totally get that.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to have stuff that you never were able to have. Now I just wish I had the time to actually enjoy it eventually. So hopefully my mind doesn't get too mature, which I don't think it is, or it ever will be. So
when you do enjoy it, what's your favorite game? It doesn't have to be best. Doesn't have to be like critically beautiful. What's your favorite?
One of the top games, like I'd say, is probably God of War. God of War is like probably one of the, for me personally, I love it.
Which God of War?
I'd say Ragnarok is probably the one I had the most enjoyable time doing. So, and then Fallout, obviously.
Just all of them.
Yeah, me and my wife really bonded over Fallout, so I think it's a top tier, 100% game. It's amazing.
As for back to your collection for a second, you've got a lot in there, so it's going to be hard. But what would you put, like, what's your pedestal? If you were attending like a meetup and everybody was to bring the coolest thing or the thing they're the most proud of or whatever, what is it?
I don't know. I don't really know if I have anything that's like not just kind of average. Oh, my wife actually surprised me with a custom-made Pip-Boy.
Oh, that's sick.
And a few other add-ons, but that was probably like one of the best things I've ever gotten. Maybe like obviously not to someone else because they have that new one that just came out that you could buy.
It's not custom. It's
Yeah, but this one,
everybody has,
yeah,
so
it's pretty cool. I would definitely love showing that off.
Or yeah, maybe there'll be more B-roll here.
Yeah. See.
I can throw that right there.
Yeah, I have pictures of it too, so you can throw it on that video.
That makes it easier.
Star Wars toys.
Oh, then we have some original Star Wars toys when they came back. Came out 30 years ago, something like that. So like OG, not the replicas. We'll have a bunch of those toys that are pretty fun.
Nice.
I just need a bigger room. I got too much crap.
Yeah, I know.
Never enough space, huh?
No,
And then when you
no.
get more space, you just keep adding to it, and it's just never
Shave
enough.
down, put a bit more in. That's just how it works.
Now I just look at big rooms and I'm like, oh, I can do a lot with this room.
Friggin', it's terrible.
Yeah.
What is your if you'd want to add something, right? What's the white whale? What's the like number one thing?
I can't remember the actual website, but it's where you can buy all the 6-foot statues, and I really want the Fallout.
Oh, dude.
Man, but it's like $3,000, $4,000. But I would absolutely love to have one of those.
Oh, you having all this experience behind you as a collector, what would you tell people if you were to give them any advice?
Make sure you pay attention to school or get really lucky and have a good job or do something because it's expensive.
It's
It's very expensive. It's addicting. I would say definitely it's an expensive hobby, especially when you're into gaming and collecting. A lot of people that I know are just into gaming to where they have like a decent amount of games, but when you start getting to collectibles and also the thing is it holds its value. So a lot of the gaming industry, like a lot of it just will grow. So you'll be able to hold your money. So eventually, if something does happen, I've told my wife this, like I'll be able to sell everything off. Not that I would want to, but it would be easy to sell it for the most part.
The way that I put it is the video game industry in general is like kind of future proof, because if we go into like a recession or like a time frame where things are just down and everything sucks, people want an escape, so video games.
Look at COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
COVID, like you couldn't find games, like it was wiped.
Blew them up, just
Yeah.
completely blew them up. And then when things get more reasonable, you're no longer in a recession, it's not like a depressing time or anything like that, games are more frequent, people can find them easier. People can find them easier, and they're easier to get into and convince your friends to play with you because everyone's happy, right? It's future proof.
As I was growing up, a lot of parents and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's a waste of time. You need to grow up." And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. As long as you take care of your stuff, like it shouldn't be a problem. Like it's something you enjoy doing, right? It keeps you out of trouble too. Like there's a lot of pros that come out of it. That's what my mindset was too.
Pretty much.
So.
Any parting words? Anything you want to say before we move on to the last segment, which is going to be pretty epic. You'll love it.
No, I keep gaming on. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. So for the last segment, I'm going to have Trevor here take a quiz. It's going to get progressively harder, and you're going to be rewarded depending on what correct answers you can give, okay?
Man.
It's
All right.
5 questions.
I'm
I promise
nervous.
it's not that hard.
All right.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. One of the games on this list I'm going to give you doesn't exist.
Okay.
The other 3 do, but one doesn't. And
How
it's
far are
with
we
a,
going? How far back are we going?
It's not going to be bad. I
Oh,
promise.
okay.
So, are you aware of the Pets franchise?
Yes.
So there's like 50 games in the franchise, but one of these isn't on that list. Okay, let me know when you're ready. You ready for them?
I'm ready.
Is it A, Pets, Hamsters, Superstars? Is it B, Pets, Pony Beauty Pageant? Is it C, Pets, Cuddly Crocodiles? Or is it D, Pets, Monkey House?
Hey Google, I'm gonna say D.
You're saying your final answer
It was
is
between C or D. I think it's D. I'm gonna say final answer is D.
your final answer is D, Pets Monkey House.
Yeah.
You are completely incorrect.
Oh, which is it? C?
It's Cuddly Crocodiles.
God.
I'd play that, but it's not true. Don't
All
worry.
right.
Here's one that you might know a little bit better, but it is a little bit more obscure.
Hmm.
You are aware how Call of Duty, most years they have a Prestige Edition or a Hardened Edition with extra tat, right?
Yeah.
So Call of Duty Ghosts Prestige Edition includes the game, a steelbook case, a paracord strap, a bunch of digital stuff, and what? Is it a keychain of the P226 sidearm, a Call of Duty 36-inch car decal, a snakeskin controller skin, or an HD tactical camera?
I'm gonna say A.
I think it's A keychain of the P226 sidearm. That is your final answer.
Can I call in a audience member?
You can try. Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Wait, which is it that came with it, right? So it'd be.
Yeah, one of these items came with it.
I want to say, I want to say A.
Your final answer is a
but I feel
keychain
like
of the
I'm wrong,
P226 sidearm. That is incorrect.
What is it then?
It is actually the HD tactical camera.
I suck. Wait,
How
what is the
dare you.
camera? Didn't I buy that from you?
I'm pretty sure you did. That's why I asked.
Oh my god.
Good job, buddy. Question 3. The original version of Resident Evil 2, not the remake, but the original version, released on a ton of different platforms. But one of these it didn't release on. Did it not release on A, PlayStation 2, B, PC, C, the Sega Dreamcast, or D, the Nintendo 64? We're talking native ports. Which
Nintendo
of these
64.
systems don't have a port?
Oh. Wait, no, it didn't release on 64, did it?
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
That's your final answer. The
Yes,
Nintendo
final answer.
64. That is incorrect.
What the heck, man? I completely did not win the $1 million.
It came out on PlayStation 1. It did not come out on PlayStation 2.
Wow. Dude, I
I actually have this over here. I took it off the wall because I thought you'd cheat.
Oh.
It's a poster of that thing that doesn't exist. Question 4. This one's for you. This one
gosh.
should be easy, okay?
Please make it easy. I'm not
There
looking
are
to do myself justice.
a insane amount of Star Wars games, but once again, one of these doesn't exist.
All right.
Is it A, Star Wars Lethal Alliance for the Nintendo DS? Is it B, Star Wars Chess for Sega CD? Is it C, Star Wars Han Solo Adventures for PlayStation 1? Or is it D, Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle for the Atari 2600?
Dude, that's... Oh, my goodness.
I told you it was going to get harder. So.
Yeah, I'm pushing towards the DS one, but I'm not too sure. Madison, help me out, man. It's supposed to be my emotional support. I'm gonna say,
I can read them back if you
yeah,
want.
just read them back one time.
Star Wars Lethal Alliance for the Nintendo DS. Star Wars Chess for the Sega CD. Star Wars Han Solo Adventures for the PlayStation 1. Or Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle for the Atari 2600.
I'm gonna say chess.
Star Wars Chess for the Sega CD. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is incorrect. That game slaps. It's awesome.
Is there? Oh
it's
my
like this
God.
3D chess game where they like.
So which one
animate
was
the-
it then? Is it the
Star
DS?
Wars Han Solo Adventures doesn't exist. That's just a fake name that I made up.
Because it's Han Solo, right? Or are you
Yep.
just throwing me off?
No, it's. I just said Han, but it's Han. But yeah,
Oh my
it
gosh.
also doesn't exist. So that's okay. We've got the final
I'm
question.
gonna
here.
get kicked off the podcast. This
It's the
guy
only
ain't a
time
gamer.
you'll
He's
ever-
fake
This
news.
is why it's episode 0.
Oh.
So, Duke Nukem Forever is a pretty lambasted game.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of what Metacritic scores are?
Sounds familiar.
It's like, think like a compilation of different critic scores being mushed together and it's like a Rotten Tomatoes but for
Okay,
video
yeah.
games, basically. So, Duke Nukem Forever has a Metacritic score of 49 out of 100, which means it's almost exactly not good and not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to list 4 games. Only one of these reviewed worse than Duke Nukem Forever.
Okay.
The other 3 reviewed better. Is the worst game A, Barbie Horse Adventures for the Xbox? Is it B, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, specifically the DS version? Is it C, The Muppets Party Cruise for the PlayStation 2? Or is it D, Rock'em Sock'em Robots for the Game Boy Advance?
I'm gonna say. What do you think, B? I'm gonna say B.
You're going to say B, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's specifically the DS port of it.
Hold on. I think anything Modern Warfare usually sells really good and has good reviews. I just don't know about the DS version. Yeah, I'm gonna say B.
You're going to say B, Modern Warfare 3 on DS. That's your final answer.
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Oh my gosh.
It is Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Rock'em Sock'em. I have it. Rock'em Sock'em
No
Robots
idea
is
why,
good.
but that game was destroyed. It's got like a
Oh.
28 or something
Oh
like
my
that.
god. What did you remember what Modern Warfare had?
It has like a 50, 60, something like that.
Dude.
But that's okay. I've still got a prize for you.
Is it a lollipop?
No, it's something nice.
Somebody like, boot this guy off. He does not know games.
So, this is
Oh, it's a whoopee cushion.
the beanie
Oh.
from the Among
Oh,
Us
nice.
Collector's
Look at that, guys.
This is what happens when you get 0 out of 5. I was gonna give him an Xbox Series X, but he got 0. I'm just kidding.
Awesome. I was like, oh, that's
But thank you for watching this episode of the Retro Game Vault After Hours. Any parting words?
I tried.
That's fair. You
Better
guys,
better luck next time.
better luck next time. You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. So there it is. That was episode 0 of RGV After Hours, a project I've been wanting to put together for a very long time. It wasn't perfect, lighting wasn't great, mics weren't perfect, but I think we can improve. This is one of those projects that will grow slowly over time, and I'm hoping to take any sort of comments, criticism, everything to just improve it the best I can. So if you have any ideas, anything you'd like to see, anything you'd like to see less of, let me know. Together, we can shape this into something truly special. Thank you again for taking time out of your day to watch my little video. Have a wonderful day.